YouTube. I thought I'd show you the Workbench computer. I've probably added things to the Workbench computer over the years. Basically, the Workbench computer is made of a combination of parts that I've obtained free at certain points, and things of that nature. So, processor is a 3.2 gigahertz, Core 2 Duo CPU. I've got 8 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM, which is spare RAM that I had from my computer previously when I was sort of attempting to match pairs and stuff, and I didn't so much match pairs, or just old. It was a mismatch of some DDR3 that I had lying around. So it works. The computer works. So it's the main thing. It's got obviously that Core 2 Duo in there. It's also got an NVIDIA. It's also got an NVIDIA GTX 560, which that's below the 660 or the 670 or 770s. But it's still a good card. It still works very hard. It's still clocked pretty well. It does a pretty good job. It's got, how much RAM? It's got about 1 gigabyte of RAM. 1 gigabyte of GDDR5, which is cool. I do test a couple of games on here and do a bit of gaming, just mostly old games and stuff. They got client data. Then I got a main drive, which is what's the main drive for this? The main drive for this is a not an SSD. It's a 10,000 RPM, 80 gig. One of the old Raptor drives. I mean, it's old. I mean, it's probably extensively old for the fact that it's 80 gigabytes. But it's a pretty good drive. It runs pretty well. I don't think I've had it conk out on me yet. I've got a spare one that does work there. So if that drive does manage to die, I've got a spare one lying around that I got a while back. So I've got that. What else? Just basic. I mean, basically, this machine's basically for looking up drivers, getting data off drives, and things of that nature. Basically, getting data off things and stuff of that nature. Basically, I was originally using this case for a build, but then I thought, screw it, I'll put this case. I mean, I want a solid machine that's reliable. The case, there's plenty of room in this case. There's plenty of room for expandability as well. I can add more drives if I choose to at a later date. I mean, there's some. Look, I kept the case because I figured, bugger, I'll keep it in the range because it's a case I can reuse over and over again, even if I'm rebuilding with a new motherboard. I can still use this case for the Workbench computer. It's quite a nice case. It's not a shitty case. So because I picked up on special. I think I picked it up fairly cheap when I got it, and I figured, why the hell not? I'll hold on to it. It's a good case. It's not a real shitty case in my mind. Nice case. Good venting. Good dust filters. The inside of it looks quite nice too. It's a nice. Overall, it's a nice case and it's very, very solidly built. That sort of matches with the motif of my whole house, pretty much. I mean, Jacob's case is a Cooler Master. This is a Cooler Master. My dad's case is a Cooler Master. All my cases have been Cooler Master, be it different ranges of Cooler Master, basically from the lowest to the highest sort of thing, And yeah, so I'm trying to go. Well, to be honest, I want to actually upgrade my case to a Cosmos 2, but I haven't got the cash at the moment, so I have to wait on that. Pretty much, just wait and bide my time, I guess, until the point I save some money for it. It's not cheap. The Cosmos 2, as most people know, it's not cheap in Australia. So I'm thinking I need a Cosmos 2, and I'm going to get that. I'm going to have a shitload of space for my drives and everything else. Not that there's anything wrong with my current case. My current case is not too bad, but it's a little bit plasticky on the front, which I don't like. I prefer I would prefer it to be a bit more stylish, and a bit more heavier, just that bit more heavier duty, and which the Cosmos 2 is a very heavy duty case by nature. So yeah, it's quite nice. So yeah, that's pretty much that case. Then I got a Samsung monitor underneath here. Pretty much almost. I mean, I got Samsung monitor. So I got Samsung monitor in. Samsung monitor for my dad's, Samsung monitor for Jacob's, which Jacob's has got my old 120Hz Samsung monitor, and Samsung monitor for there, Samsung monitor for Dad, and I got a Samsung monitor as well, my 4K monitor. So I'm pretty much matching with the Samsung stuff. The only thing I haven't got is Samsung. This is my Acer monitor, which is a 19-inch. Then in here, which is actually being used as for its intended purpose, is my Samsung 3D TV. Now, it was originally being used as a monitor. Not a bad monitor by any means. It's not too bad at all. Not a bad monitor overall. Very nice looking. I think most of the stuff that for this I think most of the stuff for this it records, it does a combination of things. It's also, I got a Wi-Fi connector built into the back of it, so it can connect. It's a smart TV as well. So yeah, it's not too bad. As a brand, it's not overly bad. I mean, Samsung's always pretty reliable. That's the reason I choose Samsung most of the time. I wish my internet bandwidth was high enough so I could actually run some of the streaming programs, or the streaming program I did have up until I cancelled the subscription, because it was just a waste of money, because my internet connection isn't fast enough to handle streaming TV, unfortunately, or streaming movies and stuff like that. So that's rather frustrating. I've got a Apple TV, which it sort of interests me, but it sort of didn't. I don't know. I didn't get totally into it. I could probably sell that Apple TV, to be honest. I've probably got a spare power cord for it somewhere too. Yeah, the Apple TV just annoyed me, because I mean, unless you're actually willing to commit to the subscription of Apple TV, it's just not worth the time, really, to be honest. What else? That's Samsung. I mean, as I said, that's just that. So yeah, basically, this is being used as a TV in my dad's room. In case he hasn't got access to the main TV, just basically, and he hasn't got access to the other one, because the other one's a TV as well. But yeah, just in case he hasn't got access to things. So yeah. That's pretty much, it's pretty much the gist of the whole house, sort of, in context. Also down below, I mean, this is something that I use, to be able to switch between computers, especially when working on a desktop computer. Little KVM switch, which is a Belkin. Belkin are very reliable. This is actually second hand. It's not brand new. Considering that it's second hand, it does a pretty good job, and it's lasted a fair amount of time. I have had to reboot it a couple of times, when it hasn't shown up certain things and stuff like that, but most of the time it's pretty even with most things. So, yeah. Pretty much back to the Medion, but yeah. Which at the moment the Medion's just doing its thing. My work laptop's in here, which I should probably do a little bit more extensive review on it. It's an Asus. It's an Asus with a Core i5, which is not bad. It's got 2 GB of video memory, it's only a very basic video card, but for the resolution that you're running it on the laptop, it runs pretty damn well. It's a a 610. It's a GeForce GT 610, which is not bad. I mean, considering that type of thing is just 2 GB worth of memory in the actual thing. So it's pretty good that way. else? Yeah, so that's about it anyway. I mean, that's about it for, and everything in the house, really. I mean, my I think my nephew ended up stealing the other web camera that I had on there, but I put another one up there just to make it easier for my dad to be able to use Skype and stuff because he talks to his friends on Skype. Simpson. Cool Master. So yeah, we're not do that. But anyway, that's pretty much that case. Then there's also a photo printer upstairs as well, or up on the top of the case, which is not bad. So yeah. Anyway, stay tuned. Thank you very much, YouTube. Like and subscribe to my channel, obviously. So if you're interested in my videos or interested in some of the stuff that I get up to, different projects and otherwise, just feel free to subscribe, like. I also have a Facebook page, which is purely dedicated just to my /channel/business combo. My hobby business, as I call it. It is my hobby business, so yeah. Hobby business, and what else is there? Twitch TV, Google Plus, and Twitter. Those are some of the things I'm on, so definitely have a look at those. The other thing I wanted to do was... What was the other thing? Oh, I'm thinking about creating some extra accounts like Instagram and things like that, but I don't know at this point. It depends on my mood and whether I'm really really in the best of moods to do it, or whether I feel like doing it, or is it something I'm going to dedicate my time to or not. So yeah. Anyway, thank you very much, YouTube. I hope you enjoyed my videos. Stay tuned. More to come, obviously. More to come with some repairs I do. Maybe just a bit more interactive with repairs. I may also, at some point, because I dabble into taking apart different things, I may show you some videos of actually how to take an Xbox controller apart and put it back together. I mean, it's a bit of a fiddly job, and, I'm going to be just a tiny bit of a novice at it, I guess, because, I mean, I'm not a novice. I have taken one apart and put it back together again, but just generally because I don't do it that often, I'm probably going to be a bit, out of sorts with it when I'm doing it. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to leave it there anyway. Thank you very much, YouTube. Stay tuned. More to come. Thank you. Bye. Well, how you going, YouTube? This is a presentation, well, a little bit of a presentation on my dad's computer. This is the computer that my dad uses for a combination of different things. He gave me eBay combined sort of combo. General browsing, Facebook, things like that. It's also used for a bit of image editing and things of that nature. So it's got an AMD Phenom 2 X4 quad-core processor, 3.4 gigahertz, 3.40 gigahertz, 8 gigabytes of RAM, which is 1600 rated RAM, which is Vengeance RAM if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure I put pretty much all the same RAM in all my AMD rigs, all my good, what I consider family good AMD rigs sort of thing. So, AMD Phenom 2 X4 965 processor, which it's a good processor. So it's not the newest, but it does him for what he needs to be able to do image editing. I mean, I do a percentage of that stuff. I put, do the image editing. I help him with eBay. I help him with other things. Basically, I'm sort of I'm the on-call technician in the house for doing that type of stuff, and just doing anything really computer related. Because my dad's not really big. He's not really bad. I mean, he's not the most computer literate person in the world. He can type a few messages and answer emails if he needs to, but most of the big stuff he gets me to do, and it's pretty much on my responsibility. So, HD TV monitor, which this is originally my monitor. I just gave it to him because I ended up getting a smaller monitor, basically because of it generally makes my performance better if I have a lower resolution monitor on my computer. So yeah, I mean, I still have two monitors. I just have a smaller monitor, just it's chucking stuff aside for desktop purposes and things like that. So right, you got as you can see, this is not about. It's a TV. It's a HD TV monitor. So it's got a combination of things, tuners on it and things like that. It's also got a remote. You can actually see the remote. It's got a remote, and it's quite a nice screen. I used it for a fair while, and I've never had any problems with it. Runs quite nicely, does a pretty good response time most of the time. Same with the response time of the computer is pretty good. There's this tower down there, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, his tower's got a couple. Well, it's basically it's got water cooling. I put water cooling on his, and I put water cooling on my nephew's. Basically because I just wanted them to run cool, and I didn't want to have issues with them dying too soon. I changed the motherboard out because the original motherboard, I was using the original motherboard that I got from my nephew's computer, but it died basically. The motherboard was about the only thing that died. The processor, this AMD processor, which is an AMD Phenom 965 processor, has been going strong for years now. I've had it for a few years now, and it runs quite nicely. The processor runs nicely. The only thing I had to change out was the motherboard and the RAM. I changed out the RAM as well because originally it had mismatched the DDR3 RAM, and I got matching pairs of RAM. Oh, two matching pairs anyway. Two 4 gig sticks. So it equals 8 basically. I put a KingFast SSD in there, which wasn't overly expensive. It was like $60 or something, I think. It's 120 gig. The drives that are actually in there. So what I've actually got in here, I've got the processor itself, the RAM. Then I've got 3 drives in here. I've got Dad's backup drive, eBay data, and then I've got games drive, which has got a couple of games in it. There's a couple of little games just to test things and stuff like that, in case I get bored. But I mean, to be honest, his video card that he's got in here isn't the greatest either. It's not the most spectacular one, mainly because Dad doesn't really game. It's just more my purpose of gaming. But the video card on this is a 610, I believe. It's a there we go. It's a GeForce GT 610. It's not a bad card. It has 2 gigabytes of memory. Don't get me wrong. It's not a bad little card, and it does pretty well with most things. But I mean, you want to do anything more heavier or gaming, or really, really strong video editing, I wouldn't recommend this, the GeForce GT 610. It's only a basic card. It's very basic and, not designed to do anything too fancy. So yeah, that's got that on there. And then you got the 8 gigabytes, the quad-core processor. Even though it's last generation, it still works quite nicely. And also by side here we got a black and white / this is a laser printer. No, is it a laser? Laser. It's a laser printer anyway. It prints up. You can print photocopies and everything else. You can scan stuff into it. Yeah, you can do all sorts of stuff with this. Scan, photocopy. I don't think you can fax, but I mean it's valid. I think the cartridge in it is valid for like 700 prints or something. So I mean, I don't think we've ever actually used up the full 700 prints. But I mean, if we do, we do. Which I doubt we would ever use that many up. But you never know. It's rated for 700 prints anyway. You have to change the cartridge off for 700 prints. So that's that. Paper comes in here. There's a paper tray at the bottom. It's a Dell, which I think at the time it was cheap. It was like $80. I think it was $80. Yeah, it's like $80. It wasn't overly expensive. It was only about $80 to buy. It has a scanner built in and everything else, and so yeah. Then this is something that my dad uses for eBay. Sort of taking photos as well, personal photos as well. This is my old camera, which is a FinePix. It's a FinePix HS50 XR EXR, which is not a bad little camera. It's not shithouse, put it that way. Has a nice flash on top. It's 16 megapixels, if I remember correctly. It's got a lens cap and everything else on the front. Strap. Oh shit! Wow. It's got a strap. It's got a strap so you can carry it around like a photography camera. It's got a 42 optical zoom, as you can see. Yep, 42, so it's 24 by 1000mm, which is it's got a nice lens on it. To be honest, it's a really nice lens. Depends on my dad, but it's got a very nice lens on it. It's not a shitty lens, considering the type of camera it is. It's also got the same features as my current camera, and the only difference is that my current camera, which I've got, is more of a professional grade camera, because you can actually change the lenses out if you want, and you can have all different types of lenses. You can see my current camera is a 20 megapixel though. It is 20 megapixel, 20.3 I think megapixels. Some of mine's actually a higher megapixel. The lenses are quite nice on these. Don't have any major issues with them. So. Yeah, it's quite a nice lens. Aside from that, yeah, I mean that's just basically the camera you use for everyday stuff and just taking photos and things like that. So you know, it keeps him going, keeps everything else going, and it's a nice camera. Was formerly mine, as I said, and I just handed it down to him pretty much. So hand-me-down analogy. Over here is a Braun TV we got from Aldi. Not a bad TV actually. It hasn't managed to conk out or anything like that. Has pretty good feedback on most things. I've done a couple of recorded shows on there, and they look quite good, to be honest. There's a Toshiba DVD player, which is actually a hand-me-down from reconditioned, you could say. We got it free off somebody. So it's like, oh, here you have this. It works, and I was like, okay. The only annoying part is that the actual sound itself, to get it to work properly, you have to have it's plugged in at the front for the earphones, which is because it used to be hooked up to a bunch of speakers and stuff, and it had a speaker system that went with it. But yeah, it's not a big issue. I just whacked that in there. Luckily I had a cable and it converted, which was nice. So, you know, I mean, I had to do a makeshift job job of it, but, you know, it's not overly bad. Look at that, that's there. So yeah, and we've got the antenna there. Then at the back here we got this stuff, which is it's a Philips media player unit. Basically, you can stick memory cards and hard drives in it. You can play HD movie files and stuff like that. I did have another one, but I gave that to my. I think I sent it to my girlfriend actually, and she's got that. I didn't really need it. This one does a pretty good job anyway. It does pretty much all your media files and stuff. I think it is updatable too, as well. And what else? It's been unplugged. Shouldn't be unplugged. What else we got? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, just, you know, this is pretty much my dad's setup. It's got a Gigabyte mouse, Dell keyboard, which I scored for free, some nice speakers, which aren't too bad, doing pretty good sounds. I mean, you can also run the sounds through the TV if you want. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the sort of stuff that, you know, I mean, obviously the gear I've got is much more advanced, because of this type of work I do and the type of stuff I do. But yeah, not too bad. So anyway, stay tuned. Thank you very much, YouTube. Hope you enjoyed this little video. I'm going to do another little presentation video on the workbench computer, because I sort of didn't really go into. Well, I went into a little bit of the details of the workbench computer, but not totally anyway. So anyway, I'm going to leave there. Thank you very much, and catch you YouTube. Bye.